Hey guys, all the products you see in this video can be found in the description down below. Today is this game called Azul Tile Game. My favorite thing about it in just a second, but first some things you need to know. This game is 2 to 4 players. It can last 30 to 45 minutes. It's lasted a little bit longer several times for us, but it's always a fun game. It's not a game that overstays its welcome, meaning you're not going to play this and then be like, man, I wish I was done with it, because it is a fun strategy game. And especially once you learn how to play and get the hang of it, it becomes funner and funner. It's one of those kind of games where the first couple rounds is kind of just getting used to, getting practice. But once you actually learn and you have a group of friends that knows how to play this game, it gets really, really fun because of the strategy involved and just making the right choices versus making the mistakes that we all make on this game and lose points. It's just really, really, really dynamic. I will explain briefly the basics of how to play this game, but first, why you're really here, and that is you want to know if this game is actually fun or if it's going to be one of those games where you buy it and then it sits in your closet forever because you only played it twice and then you never wanted to play it again. And this game, I can tell you that it is definitely one that you are going to want to play again, especially if you're more strategy minded and into strategic games that require some extra thinking and planning on your part. It's one of those games where if you're like that, it's going to be really, really fun. It's fun for everyone, but if you're into strategic things, you're really going to like this game a lot. And let me show you how to play it, because I'm not going to go into this super detailed because that's not what you're here for. You just want to know how to play the basics and if it's going to be fun for you. And that's what I'm going to show you. Basically, how the game starts is, depending on how many players you have, you're going to have more or less of these circle things, and they're going to be full of 4 different tiles. Okay, the goal of the game is to fill up this board over here, and you get in every round you get points for having different formations, and if there's ones touching each other, for example. So, for example, if you're able to fill up this column here, you'd get 3 points. And if there was one intersecting here, you would get 3 for this and then 3 for this, so you get 6 points. And then as the game goes on, of course, you're going to get even more points because you're going to get 3 for this and then 3 for this and then 3 for this. And each one of those counts again where they intersect. So there's a lot of strategy on deciding how you're going to place your tiles. And that's what makes this game really fun. So how you fill up this board is pretty simple, okay? If you're the first player playing, you pretty much have to do the one option, which is grab off of here. And what you do is you grab all of the same color tiles off of one of these boards, okay? So for example, if I took these two, the same color, you'd place them in your choice here strategically. And since there's 2 of them, and I'm just showing you how to play, I'm gonna play them here where you fill up that section, and then these here would go into the middle of the table. Okay, the game's going to progress more and more people are going to choose colors, and more colors are going to end up in here in the middle. You can also grab all of the same color out of the middle as well. Okay, so for example, but if you're the first player to do that, you will lose 1 point. If you're the first player per round, you will lose 1 point by doing this, but it could be very helpful because let's just say that, all 4 of these blues are left in the middle. That could help you fill up 1 row in just 1 grab. Right? Does that make sense? So you would lose a point. There's a marker that goes here and you would lose 1 point, but it would be worth it because you might fill up that column if you needed to fill up that column. Anyways, a bunch of different strategies, okay? So at the end of the round, any of these lines that you have full or complete, you can move that tile into its corresponding marker. For the rest of the game, you can never use this for this color again because that marker's already been full, so you can't use this for this color tile. The other thing that's important about the end of the round is, let's just say, for example, you had 2 blues down here, but you could never complete that whole entire line. Those go into your negative counter pile, and those are going to count against you. So at the end of the round, after you move from here to here, every round you're going to count points. And so, for example, on this one, I would get 1 point for having this here, and I would get negative 2 points for having this here, and so you would have negative points. But as the game progresses, you're going to continue to get, things filled up. You're going to eventually look something like this, and those will eventually calculate into positive points. And this is just an example. You might actually end up with positive points your first round. And this is a very fun game because as things progress and continue to move forward, it just gets funner and funner to count all those points and to gather points and to figure out your strategy on what you need to fill next on your board in comparison to everyone else. The game basically ends when one player gets 1 horizontal line filled on their board. Now this is when final scoring begins, and there's different point scoring systems that you can get. For example, you get points for having that horizontal line. You can also get points for having as many vertical lines as possible as well. or you get extra points for having all of the colors completely filled on that whole entire board. So for example, if you had all of these yellowish orange colors, you would get extra points as well. So at the end of the game, guys, just whoever has the most points usually wins. If there's a tie, then there's several different factors that go into it on how many tiles you have placed and stuff like that. It just gets very, very fun. This just has an awesome looking box as well. Very artistic and just really well put together. My favorite thing about this game, guys, just has to be the fact of how simple it is to play, yet it has such a great strategic dynamic to it. You can play this game many different times, have so many different outcomes just because of the different tile choices and what your strategy is going into the game, how you're going to fill your whole entire wall up. Just everything about this game, just very, very fun. And I just really like the product, and I highly recommend it. Because I really love the fact that the more you play this game and the more you get used to it, the more comfortable you are with the dynamics, the funner and funner it gets. I mean, it's kind of like that with all games, really, right? So definitely give this game a few tries so you can get used to the dynamics, so you can get used to the gameplay and the strategy behind it. Because once you get really used to it, it gets really fun and it gets really kind of intense sometimes, but also it's kind of a relaxing game as well because it's pretty simple. I just really love this game and I highly recommend this product. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. I appreciate it a ton. Have a good day, guys.